Welcome to another episode of Historical Markers, and today we are still in Franklin County, Tennessee. This time we are looking at the other markers in the Winchester area. So let's see what other kind of markers we can find in this video.
We are in Franklin County, Tennessee, and this marker is for Captain Samuel Handley. Captain Samuel Handley fought in the Indian Wars of the 1770s and in the Battle of Kings Mountain in 1780. Indians captured him in a battle at Crab Orchard and released him after negotiations with Governor William Blount. Handley was a member of Tennessee's Constitutional Convention of 1796 and was a member of the state legislature representing Franklin County. He is buried 3/10 of a mile west of here.
We're standing outside the Clark Memorial School, and this marker is for Carrick Academy. The first school hereabouts for male education was established on the northeast corner of this property in 1809, named for Samuel Carrick, founder of Blount College. Later, the University of Tennessee. Its first principal was Robert Witter. The first building burned in 1827, being replaced by several successive edifices. This marker is in memory of Colonel James Lewis, born April 6, 1756, in Albemarle County, Virginia. He died February 21st, 1849, in Franklin County, Tennessee. He served with distinction in the Revolutionary War, participated in the battles of White Plains, Trenton, Princeton, Brandywine, Germantown, and Yorktown. He was with Washington when he crossed the Delaware. That's interesting. Witnessed the surrender of Lord Cornwallis at Yorktown on October 19, 1781. Erected the first brick house and was one of the appointed commissioners for the erection of the first cornerstone and jail in Franklin County.
We're here in Franklin County, Tennessee, in the community of Belvedere. And this marker is for the First United Church, UCC, located a quarter-mile north on Owl Hollow Road. In 1873, the church was founded by Swiss-German settlers as the German Reformed Church and was the first such church in Tennessee. The church became the center of Swiss culture in this area, which was noted for its advanced agricultural techniques. A 1934 union created the Evangelical and Reformed Church. In 1957, this denomination merged with the Congregational Christian Church to form the United Church of Christ.
This markers the Goshen, Cumberland Presbyterian Church, 1.5 miles southeast on the Boiling Fork of the Elk, oldest church in Franklin County, founded in 1808 by the Alexander Cowan, Keith McCord, Weir, and other pioneer Scots-Irish Presbyterian families. The first Presbyterian congregation in Tennessee to transfer to the Cumberland Presbytery after its organization in 1810, site of the first camp meeting sponsored by the Cumberland Church. This monument in front of the Franklin County Courthouse is in memory of our Franklin County war dead. And then if we go to the back side, we will see all the names listed for World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, Iraqi War, and Afghanistan. This marker is for James Winchester, 1752 to 1826. He was a soldier of the American Revolution, Speaker at the First Tennessee Legislature, Brigadier General, War of 1812. The town of Winchester was created as the seat of justice for Franklin County, November 22, 1809, by act of the Tennessee Legislature. And then the back side here has the Revolutionary War soldiers who died in Franklin County, Tennessee. This marker's for the Mary Sharp College. This college, devoted exclusively to the higher education of women, first opened its doors January 1st, 1851. It was named for one of its principal benefactors. It suspended from 1861 to 1865, the buildings being used by federal troops. Reopening in 1865, it finally closed its doors in 1896. This marker is in memorial to Mary Sharp College from 1851 to 1896. The motto was "Learn to Think." This was the first women's college in America to require Greek and Latin for a bachelor's degree. And then it's right in front of the original Mary Sharp bell. The Tennessee Music Pathways. This marker is for Mike Farris. During his solo career, Mike Farris has crossed between rock, blues, soul, and gospel to bring a current sensibility to traditional Southern music. He was honored at the at the 2008 Americana Music Awards as New Emerging Artist of the Year award, and in 2010 he won the Gospel Music Association Dove Award for Traditional Gospel Album of the Year. In 2015 he won the first ever Grammy for Best Roots Gospel Album. He was born in Winchester on November 30th, 1968. He grew up in several Franklin County communities. Farris was also drawn on his personal narrative work with addiction recovery programs, helping at-risk kids and young adults. His focus is to encourage kids to discover their personal direction and build their lives around it. And it's here in front of a little stage, so I'm assuming that they have some programs here periodically. Then the backside says 7 genres of music called Tennessee Home. More songs are written, recorded, and played live here than anywhere else in the world. This marker is for Peter Turney. 1/8 mile northwest are ruins of the antebellum home of Peter Turney from 1827 to 1903, organizer and commander of the 1st Tennessee Infantry, CSA, until wounded. Member of the State Supreme Court, 1878 to 86, Chief Justice from 1886 to 93, Governor from 1893 to 97. The house was burned by Federals in 1863 in reprisal for his secessionist activities. We're here in front of the Courthouse in Winchester, and this marker is Secession. In this locality, on February 24th, 1861, occurred the mass meeting as a result of which Franklin County seceded from the state of Tennessee, at the same time petitioning the then Confederate state of Alabama to annex it. The secession of Tennessee, June 24th, 1861, rendered further action needless. This marker is for the Blind Knight. 4.5 miles southeast near Liberty, Francis, Joseph Campbell lived as a boy. Blinded in 1836 when 4 years old, he was educated in the first class of the State School for the Blind, later in Boston and Europe. Settling in England, his success in educating the blind and making them self-reliant earned him knighthood. He died in 1914. This is the Franklin County Confederate Memorial Cemetery, and this is in memory of the brave men from Franklin County who defended their homeland against northern aggression. And then down here there's a plaque with a lot of names on it. This is the John Wiley Templeton Confederate Memorial Cemetery. Over here is Old Strait. Lieutenant General Alexander P. Stewart. He was a reluctant militarist, educator, and defender of the South. He graduated West Point Academy in 1842. This is the Trinity Episcopal Church. It was established in 1859. And this church has been placed on the National Register of Historic Places. We're here in Winchester at the Old Jail Museum. The first marker we want to look at is right here. This is the Tullahoma Campaign from June 24th to July the 4th. And this talks about Philip Henry Sheridan. And you can see a picture of Major General Phil Sheridan there. And then down below that is a railroad war. Here's the railroads accelerated the pace of the war. The steam locomotive is stationed in Nashville. The second marker here is also part of the Tullahoma Campaign, and this is the anatomy of a campaign. It talks about Union Major General William S. Rosecrans, who launched a massive offensive from his base in Murfreesboro in an attempt to drive Confederate General Braxton Bragg's 40,000-man Army of Tennessee from its entrenchments at Shelbyville and Wartrace, and possibly out of the state. Here's a picture of both Braxton Bragg and Union Major General William S. Rosecrans. Then here is the advance to Manchester. You can see the different arrows of the paths that were taken. And then at the very bottom is a timeline of things that happened throughout the various years. And right now we are right in the center of this timeline. 1863, right around the time of Gettysburg and Vicksburg. Winchester Civil War sites. The county seceded before the state. When Tennessee failed to secede from the Union in February 9, 1861, Franklin County residents met here at the courthouse. They listened to Attorney Peter Turney's forceful speech offering resolutions in favor of secession and reportedly adopted them unanimously. Turney raised a company in Winchester and recruited companies from surrounding communities to form the 1st Tennessee Infantry, which he offered to the Confederate government before April 9th. The regiment assembled here at Mary Sharp College, elected Turney colonel on April 27th, and soon marched to Deshard to board a train for Virginia, and it subsequently fought in that state and at Gettysburg. On June 8th, Tennessee followed Franklin County's lead and left the Union, the last state to do so. During the war, Old Mig House was used as a hospital for soldiers with contagious diseases and called the Pest House. When the Union Army occupied Winchester in 1863, several dwellings were seized for officers' quarters. The Federals used the Home Journal newspaper office on the public square vacated by William J. Slatter, who moved his presses to Georgia to publish the Army Bulletin. Confederate officers' dwellings that survive today include Colonel Tazewell Waller Newman's house and the boyhood home of General Alexander Peter Stewart. Winchester City Cemetery is the final resting place of Confederate Colonels Peter Turney and Albert Smith Marks, both also governors of Tennessee. Other veterans buried there include 100 Confederates and a few Federals. Soldiers who died in local houses and churches used the hospitals after the battles of Stones River and Chattanooga were burned in the city cemetery adjacent to John Wiley Templeton Confederate Memorial Cemetery. And here's a map showing the location of some of the other places that are still available to see today. Here outside the Franklin County Courthouse is some interesting busts of of Sergeant David Alexander Stevens, United States Army, Private First Class Nathan Bradley Clemens, United States Marine Corps, and Lance Corporal Gregory Allen Posey, United States Marine Corps. And this marker was erected by the Peter Turney Chapter, UDC, in memory of the Confederate soldiers buried in this cemetery whose tombstones no longer exist. This was erected June 4th of 2000. And here are some of the names of some of the people that I'm assuming their tombstones no longer exist. This marker is to the Confederate soldiers, 1861 to 1865. It was erected by the Peter Turney Chapel, UDC, in 1950. And all these markers appear to be blank today. Well, that was another episode of Historical Markers. I hope you liked what you saw in this episode. Like, subscribe, and tune in to the next episode of Historical Markers.